like I wanted to talk about specifically the next Suicide Squad Insider episode, because it's going to be diving into the post-launch content. And then that's going to be the theme of that particular episode. Now, obviously, me and Jay do have a fair bit of knowledge of certain things involving the post-launch content and the let's say features that are not publicly available that we can't say, but we can speculate reasonably about what we're going to expect to see in that episode. You know, based pure speculation. You know, not based on anything we know for sure. You know, obviously Jay has to be very careful because he actually signed it, because he actually signed an NDA, and I didn't. But I will say that this particular episode has the potential to win a lot of people over, because there are a lot of questions people have about the live service element still. I think it was Allfather actually. He posted on Twitter that he wanted to know whether or not there would be FOMO on the battle pass, like, you know, because a lot of battle passes you have to you basically are in a rush to finish it. So he wanted to know if Suicide Squad would be a game where you can like essentially pay for the battle pass at your own leisure and complete it whenever you want. So, you know, stuff like that I think have a potential to be answered in that episode. I think that could tie into post-launch content.
I really feel like if they can get that right,
I mean, that would be huge.
Like Halo, think about Halo, and
Halo
we've talked about this before, right?
Yeah.
Halo does this thing where if you get the battle pass, like it's always yours. Lego 2K Drive does it too. I have it here somewhere.
Yeah,
but like
that's like the number one complaint about battle passes.
All battle passes,
the FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that I think more games that do live service stuff should keep in mind if they're going to have a battle pass. And I think Lego Drive and Halo are actually great models to follow, where instead of stressing, you know, every month about can I complete this, you drop your money and then the stuff in the past is yours whenever you want to complete it.
Dude, I think about like all the money I spent on Destiny 2 and you get the battle passes with the different versions of the game that you get, and how I like literally have gone like full seasons without even opening the game. And like I basically pre-bought a battle pass that I never even used. I hope not just for Suicide Squad, but for any game that has a battle pass, I hope that we can start making it a regular thing, normalizing no FOMO battle passes, because as long as you log on during the season, you get to keep it, you know? And yeah, that does mean that at some point, like, you know, let's use Apex Legends is about to have a new battle pass, right? They're doing this big crossover with Final Fantasy, and you know, I don't play Apex Legends much anymore because I kept not finishing the battle pass. I don't play the game enough, but I would absolutely log on during a season and buy the battle pass if I knew I could keep it. And when I am going through my mood of wanting to play Apex Legends, I could be literally stacking 3 battle passes and unlocking stuff for all of them, you know?
Like that just makes more sense. Like I know FOMO can be tempting, but you're leaving money on the table, because you're going to have people who, because of FOMO, are just not going to buy the pass. They're just not going to bother, because it's like, well, if I'm not going to play the game that often, like I'm just not going to bother. And there are a lot of casual gamers out there who would happily drop some money and come in at their leisure if you gave them the option, as opposed to only basically catering battle passes to like people who are daily grinders. You know, that you would make more money if you gave options to those casuals.
And I think it's even harder for people that are like, I don't know, grown ass adults that work 40 hours a week and have to commute an hour every day, you know, to and from like work, you know?
Like they're not full, you know, like if you're a full-time content creator, you obviously have all the time in the world. But if you're working at like a normal job and you have responsibilities, you may only have time for like maybe 6 hours of video games a week, maybe. Like, you know, so you're not going to have time to sometimes even less. So So it'd be just be smart to have an option for those type of people who probably aren't going to be able to grind that whole pass immediately, but you obviously would still want their money. So why not? Why leave them off the table? Give them that option so that they can play the game at their own pace, and you still get their money. Like it's a win-win for everybody.
I really feel like it is. So, and I don't know. There's a lot of other things. Like post-launch characters, how that's going to work. The language that they've used is that they're earnable.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they're, because that's something you've criticized a little bit. Is like you really wish they would just charge for the characters. And like then people can. I don't know, man. Like
that's me thinking about it in terms of like, because I think of stuff like as like when it comes to stuff like a business person and as a consumer. So for me, I would just be like, hey, when it comes to like stuff like playable characters, give me or just content, post-launch content in general, give me a season pass, give me the option to pay money for it. I'll give you money, and then you just give me the shit when I log in when it's available. I don't want to think, so I don't have to think about it. Say for like the earnables aspects of it, that's for the battle pass. You give you the ability to earn cosmetics as you're playing the game. But for other stuff, missions, characters, just give me the thing, and put it on a nice convenient pass, and I'm good. And you can give people option to buy the stuff individually if they don't want everything as a bundle. But that's just me thinking about it in terms of like the long-term perspective of the game's health, and having that done in a way that also the consumer might not have a problem with. Because one of the problems with Marvel's Avengers is that they didn't make any money because they didn't have enough monetization options. Like the free DLC is a nice pitch, but if the quality of that free content isn't very high, then you're really not reaping the benefits because you're losing money. You're not. They had the worst of both worlds. They weren't gaining a bunch of new players because the quality of the content wasn't high, because they didn't have the budget, because they weren't charging, and the content then the content itself wasn't replayable enough. So the people who were willing to play it weren't sticking around to buy skins or anything else. So you were spending this money on content that wasn't keeping players around and wasn't enticing enough to make players want to jump on anyway. So they were just losing on all fronts. And I was just like, the whole time, just literally just make the game itself free at this point and just charge for the additional content. That way you have extra revenue coming in so that you can afford to spend more money on better quality content, which will in turn get you more players and keep the players that are interested playing longer and looking forward to the next update. But they obviously wouldn't do any of that, and the game ended up shutting down. So my understanding of Suicide Squad is that they actually have a ton of content already to go, so they're not going to have that issue with that Avengers that did, where they have just where the game launches and there's just complete silence for months on end because all their stuff is not available, not delayed, delayed and not done. Whereas Suicide Squad sounds like they're going to be able to hit the ground running, and I think we're going to get several DLC characters. I'm hoping that we get a look at some of them. One character that I've been saying this for a while, but one character I would love to see at some point is Bizarro. I just think that'd just be such a cool idea to have just give us a version of Superman in the open world.
Yeah, that's really the only thing you want, is you just want that Superman.
Pretty much. Obviously,
I'm more boring.
I like Deathstroke too. So but come on, give us that Bizarro. Him would just be crazy.
I bought this,
of course.
So obviously I like Peacemaker, but when I was in LA, I went to Things from Another World, and I actually saw this at the store there, and
Actually, it was cool.
it was so cool. And I'm actually like all on board for wanting Peacemaker. And obviously Deathstroke is my number one most wanted, but like give you Bane. Yeah, like there's a lot of great options, right? Like
Reverse Flash with a gun, of course. I mean,
yeah.
that's basically Captain Boomerang. But
But like, yeah, like Deathstroke is one of my favorite DC characters. I feel like Peacemaker would be really cool.
Yeah, I feel like Red Hood would be cool. So
I am
Shot
right on
Aqua.
board with Red Hood too.
Red Hood would be very, very cool. Like I feel like Deathstroke should have been on the base roster personally, but
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't know what the thing is, like from what we've seen in trailers especially, and like their officially released stuff, I don't think Deathstroke is funny enough to be part of that group. So like, and I know Deadshot isn't necessarily, but you can't have more than one like deadpan character.
Yeah,
And I think they were obviously, Deadshot, Will Smith in the first Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
You've got Harley obviously from the first Suicide Squad. You got Boomerang, and then I know King Shark came in the second one, but I just feel like I can understand.
I personally rather have Deathstroke than Boomerang. Than
Deadshot.
Deadshot. I'd rather have
Yeah.
Deadshot as a DLC.
I can see that.
And have Deathstroke on the base roster.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like lots of like, I mean, we got Lobo, Bloodsport, all those characters. Yeah, there's no like, and that's the thing that I'm excited about for Suicide Squad. And again, I feel like I have to preface this by saying both Sadot and I would 100 times out of 100 rather play as the Justice League than kill them. But the one really cool thing I do like about this game is it's opening up the option and opportunity to play as a bunch of characters that we probably never would have been in a position to play in this game. Because look, James Gunn is taking over DC. You know he's going to have some kind of a Justice League game. God only knows what WB Games Montreal is working on, but we do know that WB's like their plan right now, their strategy, their roadmap, their strategy right now is to focus on the properties that they own. So that their studios are going to be pumping out games based on DC Comics because that's something they don't have to license. That's something that they can. It's pure profit for them.
That's straight from the mouth of the CEO.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, obviously, we've got the Wonder Woman game we do know about. Obviously, Rocksteady's going to probably be on Suicide Squad for a while. Yep. I don't know that they really are going to start something else anytime soon.
Though James Gunn did say that the plan is to have more Arkhamverse games, but that doesn't necessarily mean Rocksteady has to be the ones to make it. I mean, after all,
and it also doesn't necessarily mean Batman.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, Gotham Knights, the Gotham Knights developers did Arkham Origins, and which is technically an Arkham game, but it didn't have even though it didn't have Kevin Conroy, but they could always have another studio do any of these games.